Through these halls, where lovers get lost and lust consumes the wicked, a place where reality collides with fantasy, in the pages where romance is second to none. Welcome to the Lover's Library.
Hey lovers,
I'm Carly.
I'm Sydney.
And I'm Zoe.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Hey.
It's happening. The time has come.
We're doing a popular book, guys. A really popular book. And you know what's fun about this episode is that it's not just one episode, it's 2 episodes. We're doing a 2-parter. We ain't never done this before, guys.
Because this is too good to
So what is this 2-parter book that we're going to be covering?
Oh, just this little dinky book. You probably never heard of it. It's called Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros.
So what's the scoop?
Violet Sorengale has prepared her entire life to become a scribe like her father. But her mother, the commanding general, has other ideas. Violet is forced to enter the school of Basgiath. But will her fate be like her sister and she'll become a writer? Or will she have the ending of her brother? Death. Dun, dun, dun. So, shall we get into this?
Let's get into it.
Lovers quarrel.
Yeah. This is a world.
Right?
Lot. There was so much information in this book.
Yes.
It was hard to keep track.
Mm-hmm.
And
You just
especially
keep going.
because they're always giving you more information.
More
and
names,
random
more
parts.
towns, more places.
And
But,
I was
I
trying to
mean,
write it all down.
You need it. It all builds this incredible world that they have.
Yeah.
And so even though it's like a bombardment of information, it all fits into place in the end.
And I love that she
Yeah.
put the map in the book because that is
Mhm.
so helpful to me to
Yeah.
like actually see everything.
Especially if
Mhm.
you actually reference it. I don't always do that because I don't. Yeah.
I love a map though.
Me too.
Because I feel like, sorry, this is going a little off, but I love if there's like a different world outside of like America or Europe or something, like if you're creating a fantasy world, sometimes you need a map just to know like where these places are in,
Mhm.
Relation to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
what if this place is like super south of where you're at, and
Mhm.
it's like if it's fantasy, it's usually like I feel like it's always medieval-ish
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having to travel and not with with
They're like,
dragons.
it took 5 days to fly there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Holy shit! You're right. Yeah.
This map was so helpful like to me because even when she was describing the college, I was reading on my Kindle, but then I had my Kindle pulled up on my phone with the
Mhm.
map
Mhm.
so I
Yeah.
could see what she was talking about.
That's nice.
And I thought that was great.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Well, I loved how Rebecca got us, at least me, like in love with Violet right away.
Mhm.
Like the very first page
Mhm.
where she's like just dying, just trying to climb the stairs to
Girl, same.
get up there. I was like, oh my gosh.
Stairs are hard.
And
okay?
she's like, I've only trained for 6 months, like physically, because
Mhm.
she has literally been trying to become a scribe
Mhm.
her
This
whole life.
time
Because that's
Yeah.
what her father did. And then he passed away, and she really wanted to be a scribe to like honor him, I think, kind of. But
Mhm.
when she's trying to climb those stairs, she's like, I'm so fucked. But she finally gets up the stairs, and she was going to, I don't know, I think she was like trying to go to her room, or maybe she was trying to go to see her mom. But she hears this like yelling coming from her mom's office, and she's like, I only know one person that would yell
Yep.
at my mom. And she goes in there, and it's her sister.
Of course.
And I freaking love Mira, her
Me
sister.
too.
Sister. She was freaking cracking me up, but the way she was just like ripping into her mom, like she wasn't like the freaking commanding general, like
Right.
boss of
Yeah.
everyone, was great. But
Her
she-
mom was super, like, even through the book, I felt really intimidated by her.
oh, her mom.
There was
can
a couple
fucking
things
go to
that she
hell.
did but that I actually liked.
Yeah, me too.
The
But
mom?
like
Uh-huh.
from
Huh.
the
You'll
from
have
the
to tell me when
get-go.
we get there.
I will.
Yeah, I was like,
Because there was
Yeah.
one thing I noticed and I was like, oh, that's very interesting,
Mhm.
actually.
and I didn't catch it before, but when I was like listening to commentaries and reading stuff, is when I caught it and I went back and read, and I was like, okay.
I bet we're talking about the same thing.
I think so.
Yeah.
Vibing.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
where
I
we
felt like
starting?
no one had faith in her from the
No.
very beginning.
No, it made me really sad to like. One thing about this book is that I really did feel every emotion
Mhm.
that Violet was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that every single person that is in your life thinks that you are too weak and too fragile to
Right.
do anything,
Right.
that hurts.
Well, even her sister's like, damn it, Mom, she can't even handle her rucksack.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Which, I mean, she couldn't, but
And then
she
I'm
already
like-
knew that.
and then when her mom, like, knowingly is doing this, I'm just like, does her mom want her dead or does she know something we don't know?
Her mom said one thing that I thought was kind of interesting because in this, they're talking about how Violet had, or the mom, Lilith, had a fever when
Mhm.
she was pregnant with Violet.
Mm-hmm.
And it stole like the color from her skin and her hair.
Yeah.
And
Because she has like half silver hair.
yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah,
I don't that's but her mom says to Mira, like, Violet feels more pain before breakfast than we do every day.
Yeah.
And so if anyone can make it, it's her. I was like, oh,
That's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
well, that's kind of nice, I think.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like her mom just has to know something. I don't know. She's being too quiet.
Or she just sucks.
Yeah. Or we should kill her. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out when we get to
I'm
that
gonna
part.
keep her around. I'm gonna keep her around.
But Mira's there and she kind of fixes Violet up. They leave from talking to her mom and she's like, okay, first of all, your fucking bag is way too heavy. You got too much shit in here. So she helps her get all that situated. And then she's like, your boots, you need these boots because if you wear those, you're going to fall off the parapet, which is like this long, skinny bridge that they have to walk across that's really high up.
Mhm.
She's like, you'll fall straight off that. And then she gives her a dagger, which apparently you can't take any weapons or you can't use weapons that you didn't bring in with you from the very beginning. So like if she hadn't brought that dagger with her from the very beginning, like she wouldn't have been able to use it later on. And we'll
Mhm.
talk about that. But
Unless you earn it, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think something like that.
Mhm.
But then she also gives her most like valuable thing that she gave her was the armor of dragon scales.
Which was so cool.
Right? I was like, why hasn't anyone else thought of this?
Right.
Mhm.
And they talk about it later. She's like, why doesn't everyone have one of these?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no one really cares.
It's insane.
Kind of fits with
That
the
thing is so
theme.
cool.
Yeah. I want one.
I know.
But so, like I said, like the first challenge is crossing the parapet. So she says
Oh,
bye to
this
Mira.
part. Jeez.
Yeah, she says bye to Mira. She gets up there. And her sister like gave her like what? 2 instructions?
Mm-hmm.
No, 3. Don't
Can-
make friends. Stay away from Zayden. And find Dane.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
Dane.
this is on conscription day.
This
right?
is before she even went into
Yeah.
the school, her sister told her
parapet.
those first things. She's like, because the very first thing they do is they
They have to. cross
walk
that in
into the
order to
school
go.
and
but
then they have
isn't
to go across.
conscription day the day that they all do this? Like that's the day you pick your squad. I mean your
Does
quadrant.
that happen once you get inside the school?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think after they got inside the school, then they picked their squads.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think it's on that day, whatever that day
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
My question is it every year?
It sounds like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I thought,
Because
but I wasn't
like when they
100%
go
sure.
to like when they have to pick their dragons, if they don't get picked, then they have to do the whole thing all over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
an
Or
annual
they
thing.
die.
Right. There's a lot of death in this book. Gosh. Everybody was dying left and right.
So yeah, her instructions are find Dane, don't make friends, and stay away from Zayden. And so, of course,
This
she
girl does not know how to
the very
follow
first thing
rules.
she does is make a friend. She meets someone named Rhiannon.
I love her.
Me too.
And
I liked her a lot.
there was another guy, I believe his name was Thomas. She started talking to him as well, and the 3 of them kind of made their way up the stairs to get to the top of the parapet. And they're making their way across.
Sorry, I can't. This part. My
When they-
eyes.
I know. This part was insane. But so she already immediately like, oh, made a friend. Oops, my bad. Then
Yeah.
she runs like smack dab into Zayden. He's
Of
like
course.
right there at the top, right before she crosses over. So
He
now
just happens
he
to be
knows.
the hottest man ever
Right?
made.
He knows who she is, what she looks like, where she is. Now he knows like, oh yeah, right there. So
Right.
she's done that part. So now we gotta
Good job.
just figure out how to get across the parapet. And everyone's starting to notice who she is. She's kind of drawing attention.
And this dumb girl switches a boot with Rhiannon.
I was like, you're going to die.
I know. I was like, you already are so, like, the chances of you living are so low.
Right.
And even though you know there's a full book about her, you're like, you're gonna.
What if it was a
What's the
twist
point of the rest of
and
these
she
pages?
wasn't the main character?
Right.
The main character just watched her die, you know?
Yeah.
But I was just so mad because
Psych, it was Rihanna.
even if you made it across, what if Rhiannon didn't and you just lost your boot?
Exactly.
That's all I could think about.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I was just mad the whole time.
Right.
I was like, why didn't anyone sit down and like scoop across it on their butt?
I feel
That's
like
pretty
you would-
smart, actually.
Like, I probably would have done
Somebody would have picked you up and pushed you off.
Yeah.
that. Well, if you were Violet, someone would have caught up with
Jake
you.
would have.
That's true.
Jack.
I kept saying oh my
Jerk.
gosh.
Jerk.
I hate him. Hey, let's get to him. Can we
Well,
get to
okay,
that part?
so yes, I'm right there. So she's gets up there. There's this guy named Jack. She hears him
Ugh.
checking in behind her, and he's a freaking asshole.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he's just like basically telling her like, "I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you."
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, "Fuck! It's starting to rain. I gotta get across this thing." And so she's like trying to
It's like
to hype herself
windy.
up, and she's like, "If I slip, I'll die. If I, oh fuck it." And she just like goes. I was like, I just love her so much. But when they're making their way across, we figure out just how fucking awful Jack is. Like when you first meet him, you're like, "Oh, this guy's crazy," and then he fucking grabs someone that's trying to cross the parapet right behind Violet. He just
Literally.
picks him up and literally like throws him off the side.
Literally.
Like,
So from
what?
the jump, you hate him,
And
which
he's
is
like
a common theme
laughing.
through the.
You're next, Violet.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Oh, fuck." So she's trying to make it across, and Jack's like hot on her heels.
Mm-hmm.
Rhiannon makes it, and then finally she makes it. But right when she gets to the end, like Jack is right on her. And basically he's like, "You're not safe yet." So she gets her dagger and she literally like has
Throws
him.
him, yeah.
She has him like held with it. Like
She's pretty good at like dagger handling.
she's
Mhm.
really good at that.
if that's the way you
Well,
say
it's
it.
just like a natural. It's like she didn't even have to
Wielding a
practice
dagger.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes me think her mom like knew she had some type
Yeah.
of something special about her. But
I mean, we knew she had to use the daggers because swords were too heavy,
mhm.
but she was like really good with them.
Yeah.
She had him by the balls, literally.
I highlighted that part because so they're getting there and she's trying to check in and they have to check in. They have to get their name on this list and then they're safe. Until they do that, they're still technically on the parapet. So like if something were to happen, you know, she wouldn't get her name on there.
Mhm.
And so the older male cadet says, or the older male rider, he's like, "Cadet Sorengale has you by the actual balls here in more ways than one." But she's like, "You can't kill me. It's against the rules."
and she knows all the rules.
She knows all the rules. And so she's able to get through and pass.
But most of the time, it is okay to kill. I think like
Literally.
one of
Right.
the only rules is you can't kill someone on your squad or when
While they're
someone's
sleeping.
sleeping.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's so many of all the rules, and there's only 2 for this one. Like, really? But she somehow finds Dane like immediately.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I felt like this big wave of like relief as soon as she found Dane. I was like, "Oh, thank God."
She was so
like,
happy.
I know.
Poor girl.
And it was her best friend. Like they were
Not
best
poor girl.
If we get there. They were best friends growing up, and then his dad is also another general, and so they were always around each other because their parents obviously like worked
They're
together.
besties.
But she's always kind of had feelings for him. And Dane immediately like takes over and starts being this like crazy protective dude. And I'm like,
Not in the sexy way either.
No.
No.
like from the get-go, it was
The
like,
alpha, you know,
I don't know about this.
Vibes.
And he's just like relentlessly trying to get her to go to the scribe
I was
quadrant.
so mad. Like I was reading this and I came out, like I went to the bathroom, I came back out and I was like, you know what? And I was just telling Peyton all about it 'cause I was so mad about Dane.
Yeah. It's so freaking annoying. It's like, dude, let it go.
I just wanted him to shut
And at the
up.
very beginning, she just made it across the parapet and she's like, "I just did that. Like, did you not fucking see that? Like, maybe, I don't know. Let's like give it some time."
The amount of underestimation that I don't know if that's the word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like everybody, and we said this at the beginning, but it keeps showing up throughout the book.
Yeah.
And I was getting so frustrated because I was like, this girl, despite whatever disability that she does have, she is knocking these things out.
Yeah.
and she is using like the most base knowledge to try to
Yeah.
And
get
she's not
past
giving up
everything.
on herself.
She's
No.
not.
With all
despite
these
everybody.
people,
Yeah.
I 100%, like, I would feel so bad, but she's using it
Yeah.
and, like, kind of just living in spite.
Yeah. She's like not. Yeah. She will
She's
not
badass.
surrender.
Her
There's
character
no way.
development through this,
Mhm.
I really enjoyed watching the thread for her
Me
because
too.
I felt like she just kept getting stronger and stronger as you read about her.
But I feel like she had it from the beginning.
Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
had
She
a
just
baseline
didn't
strength.
know she had it.
Yeah,
Her mantra was like, I will not die today. And then it became, I'm not ever going to die.
Yeah.
Period.
One part, this kind of goes back a little bit, but Dane just will not stop about getting her to go to the scribe quadrant
The squab quad.
because her mom was like, if you even step foot in there, basically like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like,
she was like, I'll bring you
don't
back
go.
every time, which would be even more embarrassing for everybody.
Yeah. So Dane does help her out, like getting her wrapped up because she does need like special support on like her joints and everything like that. And he helps get her like ready to go. And then they rush back to pick their squads or whatever. And she ends up being on, what's our squad?
Squad 2.
So we are,
Well, technically, I don't think they were at first,
yeah.
but then they swapped.
Oh, that's
because
right. Zayden moved their
Zayden
squads.
moved their squad.
Yep. Zayden was like, y'all can be on my squad.
But after they moved, they are in 4th Wing in the Flame section, Squad 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's the book called?
Fourth wing. Duh.
It's a full circle.
But so then they go right into it, like right into all the things to become a writer. And one of the things that they have to do is practice fighting. And
This would be so cool. Except you're allowed to kill people.
yeah, they don't
Literally.
care if you kill people.
They don't.
They don't want you to
Yeah,
though.
they're like, don't do that. Ugh,
Mhm.
we told you not to do that.
And then like Jack,
That
he
guy
killed another fucking kid during the mats.
snapped
He's
his
like,
neck, right?
mhm. Yeah. They're
This
just-
boy is murderous.
But what I like about this is when you win, you can take one of their weapons.
Yes.
That's like one of the things I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Can I add a note here?
Yeah.
Okay, so this book reminded me a lot of one of my really all-time favorite books called Ender's Game. What is it called? Ender's Game?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, and I feel like it gives me that vibes. It gives me Hunger Games vibes.
Yes,
in
Hunger
a way.
Games. I wrote that down.
There was, what's the other one with the guy? His name's
Divergent.
Divergent. Like
Mhm.
I feel like there's a mix of some of those.
And
plot
Akatar.
themes.
I know you guys are hating, but this is
I'm not.
like,
I don't know. I didn't know the
but
plot.
I'm saying like a lot of it is very similar to
Yeah.
Akatar.
But okay,
I
so
And
guess I'll
Akatar
read
came
it.
out first, just saying.
if you wanted to like midway recommendation, Ender's Game is a really good like
That'd
space
probably be a
version of
good-
this.
I don't even know, but I can guarantee you the pages are probably less.
Yeah.
The page count. Because
This one's like
Akatar and Fourth
620.
Wing and her next book, Iron Flame, are all some big books.
I thought this was a 2-book series. It's going to be 5.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I did not know
But
that.
it might take a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, let's jump back in.
okay, so we were right before we were talking about how they're fighting and Jack kills somebody. So then we figure out, because we don't really know how fragile Violet is. And as she's fighting Imogen, she gets her arm like twisted behind her basically.
Mhm.
And Imogen's like, give up. Say like, just give up. Just give
Yeah.
up. And Violet's like, fuck no. And
She
Imogen's just
could not.
pulling
Your
and
first
pulling
challenge, you can't.
and pulling, and then all of a sudden you just hear this like bone popping, tendons tearing, and it's just like, oh cool, so she just like dislocated her shoulder and tore tendons. Like that's insane.
That's how you start out.
But it seems like she's just kind of used to being in pain or like
Mhm.
her bones breaking
Yeah.
because she's always wrapped up.
Yeah. Well, even the next part, so Dane like sees her injured and hurt and like immediately freaks out and overreacts and like shows everyone just how fragile she is because of his reaction, you know?
Mhm.
Everyone's like, oh shit, like he's seen this before kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And he takes her to the healers, which
Is embarrassing on so many parts
Yes.
because he carried her out.
Yeah, he just like scooped her out and left, like no questions asked, just whoop, gone. But when they get to the healers, the lady freaking knows Violet.
Mm-hmm.
And Violet's like, yeah, they've been like fixing, her and her husband have been fixing me my whole life.
Right.
And then like, they're like, no, you need to go get him now, or he's going to be pissed that you didn't call us to him, because
this part made me mad.
Wait.
too.
Let me interject like really quick before you jump into that. And not only is it just like embarrassing, but also I wish she would have been like, stop, like do not pick me up, because it shows a weakness that anybody could be like, oh, she's so weak, I can basically kill her.
Yeah.
And get a foot, ahead of everybody.
Well, and I think in that moment too, she was feeling that too, but she was probably just like in so much pain that she was just like, like
I wish she would have like, I don't know if there was like a mindset shift to like get past that pain, to be like, stop, I can do this, like,
because she does have this threshold where she's like, this is an insane amount of pain, but I can get through this, but once it gets to this level, I'm like fucked. But so yeah, they get to the healers, and she knows the people, they've been healing her whole life and everything, and Dane's like, no, wait, don't fix her. I'm like, say what, motherfucker?
I was like, you are so disrespectful. Do you not ever open your ears and shut your mouth?
But it's like, don't fix her so that she can be a scribe and be like injured for the rest of her life. Because if we don't fix this, like, it's not going to heal. It's not ever going to be right. So what, she's just going to have like an arm like dislocated for the rest of her life?
Well, he even says the scribe professor will keep her a secret. But that would not work out.
No.
Your mom runs the school. Sorry, bud.
Your name isn't on the death scroll, so you're somewhere. We know you're alive. Where the hell are you?
Right.
Like, ugh. But then she realizes, she's like, fuck, like, I can't even win a match. Like, what am I going to do? And then she remembers, she uses her brain, and she's like,
so smart.
I can fucking poison people. So she heads out.
She's so smart.
She knows. But that's the thing. Like, her whole life has led to this moment for her to be able to use her brain and think in ways that these people that have the physical abilities aren't.
Right.
And they just go for it.
That's a good point.
She says that somebody's like a bull and just like runs. And that's so true. When she just kind of, what does somebody say? Like, the right way's not always...
He says it. Zayden says it, and I quote it later. The right way isn't the only way.
Yeah, and I feel like that's how she was thinking this entire book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I really liked that.
And that, okay, let me say this. In Ender's Game, because he's like scrawny, he's the youngest, and like the fact about how he got there was like, that's what was making him the underdog, and like basically he's nothing. We could basically just kill him off if we wanted to. But he was smart enough to be like, I'm not going to let you do that, and I'm going to be sneaky about getting ahead if I need to.
Yeah.
To stay alive.
Well, and that's what she did. She's like, I'm going to go find some berries. She's like, I know
was
this.
Like, what is she doing?
Oh, I knew as soon as she was going for berries, I was like, she's going to poison people.
Well, I thought,
poison. Get dead. Poison.
Like,
get dead poison.
How is she going to poison them? Is she going to like poison them dead? But she's way smarter than I am.
So smarter. And she works in the kitchen, so she knows she can sneak it into their food.
Because when they were like, why would you even want to do breakfast duty? And she's like, I have my reasons.
So she goes down to this like river, and she trails down and finds the tree with the berries. And then she hears people talking, and she's like, shit. So she like scurries up the tree, finds the berries, and then she sees Zayden Ryerson show up under the tree that she just climbed in. So,
dun, dun, dun.
I know we said his name before, but let me introduce you to Mr. Zayden. So,
let's talk about our... Oh, wait. Okay. This is going to go into what you're talking about, I promise. Okay. So when I was listening to like commentaries and like reading stuff about the book so that I didn't miss anything, one of the things that people were calling him was the Shadow Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
So if we wanted to put, instead of Zayden, we could say the Shadow Daddy. We can.
I like that.
Or the Shadow Zaddy.
Hey, let's do that. Well, okay, for our third date, we can use nicknames for the characters.
There you go. Shadow Daddy.
So Shadow Daddy is the son of Fenn Ryerson. So Fenn Ryerson is the man who killed Violet's brother, Brennan. He was the leader of the uprising, which So they live in Navarna.
Mm-hmm.
Navarna. Navarna.
Are
That
you
was
asking about
Navarre.
pronunciation?
Navarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Violet and her family live in Navarre, have allegiance with Navarre, all that jazz. Okay. Finn and Xaden and all these people live in somewhere called Tyrandor, and they are the rebels. They're rebelling from Navarre, and they're trying to fight and get away from Navarre because of their beliefs. So after Finn killed Brennan, Violet's mom was able to capture all of these rebellions from Tyrandor, and she killed them. She executed all of them in front of their children.
Which is wild.
And I'm talking moms, dads, everybody. Like,
Everybody.
it wasn't just like, oh, we killed all the dads and left the moms for the children. No, we killed both their parents, and now these kids are orphans.
Hide your kids.
Yeah,
hide
they
your wife.
were fostered by like random people that were
like noble
specifically
people from,
very loyal to the king of Navarre.
Yes. And so this is when the children are marked with a relic, is what they call it. It's a mark that is permanently on their skin.
Marked by a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez Louise.
So everyone can see it. Everyone knows this marking and knows who they are and knows they're from like the rebellions. And they are forced to go through rider training at Bascaeth. So Xaden,
with the names, you got these names down.
I listened to it. Part of it.
I wish I would have, because I was
Bascaeth.
like, Basquiat.
Sorry, keep going.
You're okay. So then that ties us in. Xaden is now Violet's wing leader, and he's a third year.
And he is hot.
And he is
Shadow Daddy.
And he's grumpy.
He's grumpy.
And he is strong.
He's hot. He's hot. So one of the other rules is that marked students aren't allowed to gather in groups of 3 or more than 3. They can be 3, but can't have 4. You can only have 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's illegal.
It's illegal because they must
which
be
is fair.
planning an
I mean-
attack.
I mean, it's kind of prejudice and a little rude to
for
think, but also just keeping it a little safe.
You know,
Yeah.
right? We gotta have some rules.
So she's watching Xaden from the tree now. And another person comes up, which is Imogen, who she fought earlier that hurt her arm. She also has the relic mark.
She has pink hair.
Yes. She's pretty cool.
I just like that.
But then all of a sudden, more students are coming, more and more and more. And it's like dozens of marked students are gathering under this tree. And she's like, what the hell?
Yeah, you immediately have to think, this is it.
Right.
They're rebelling again.
Right.
She's like,
I've stumbled into something I shouldn't have.
She's like,
I'm gonna die.
if they find me, it's gonna be the most fun for them because they're like, yeah, let's kill her.
Because
All
she
of
would
us.
be the one that you would want to get your revenge on. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes. So she's trying really hard to listen in, so she kind of gets a little closer so she can hear what Xaden is saying. And she realized, and she is upset. She's like thinking, oh my gosh, like there's more than 3 of them. This is against the rules. This is bad, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And then she realizes that the group was called together so that he could like talk to all the students and let them know like, hey, what are you struggling with?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're bad with your knife skills. You're going to start practicing with so-and-so on this day at this time or after this class so that you can work on that because we want everyone to survive. Like I don't want any of you to die for something like this.
Nothing was bad about this. And it was actually, that made it more heartbreaking
Yeah.
because they're just trying to survive.
Literally.
But this is what pulls Violet apart from everyone else. Literally everyone. Her mom, her sister, Dane, everybody. Because she's like, he's doing something good. Like, she's like, I don't even care that they're
But people
breaking
just
the
see
rules.
the mark and they're like, bad guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Rebellion.
then everyone leaves. They disperse, but Xaden's still there. And then he catches her. And
She thought she was sneaky.
she did. And he wraps her up because he's like, I think he snuck up on her because she thought she was good, but he was still there because he has powers.
He's a shadow wielder.
Shadow
Yes,
Daddy.
so he was probably just hiding in his
I know
own
he
shadows.
could have been like just 2 feet away and been like,
Yeah.
can't see me.
So I just thought it was funny because the way he talks to her and the way he talks to everybody and the little things he does just freaking crack me up.
I know he was so funny and like grumpy and sarcastic all the time. And
I
I
love
loved
when
him.
a grumpy sunshine vibes is like that.
It really
I like
is
a little
great.
character besides
Yep.
grumpy.
Well,
too.
and then he says, "You're really a violent little thing, aren't you?" And I was like, "Oh." And now I have the
Wink,
hots
wink.
for Zayden. I was like, "Yeah, that didn't take much."
No, not at all.
But they talk, and basically she's like, "I'm not going to tell anybody." And he's like, "I don't believe you." And she's like, "Well, just consider this a favor.
Mhm.
Like, now you owe me a favor." And he's like, "Okay, whatever." And they leave. Then
But she's confused. She's like, he probably should have killed me. That's
yeah,
weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Got that one.
So now we're seeing something happening with Violet and Zayden. And then when Violet saw Dane that first time, or when she sees him even later after this, she like gets kind of excited to see him. You know, she gets the little butterflies in her tummy, kind of, you know, gets excited. And I'm like, this is like Hunger Games.
2 thumbs down.
This is giving me like
Yeah.
Gale and Peeta vibes. Like
I hated Gale, and I also hate Dane.
I was gonna say, Gale is like Dane, and Peeta is like Zayden. Only Zayden is way hotter than Peeta.
I would not call Peeta a daddy.
No. Not a daddy, or nothing.
Yeah. So the next part I had was just moving on with their day-to-day lives. You know, they've made it over the parapet. They've picked their teams. They're working through everything.
Training.
Yep, going to classes. One of the classes they have is where they learn about the dragons with Professor Kaori.
That would be my favorite class.
Yeah.
Man, let me
He's so
tell
cool.
you.
So he's preparing them because they are going to come up. There's a point where they have to go walk. They basically like present themselves to the dragons.
Mhm.
They
That's
don't really
so
do
scary.
anything. They just like walk to a point, turn around, and walk back and hope the dragons don't kill them.
It's Judgment Day.
Yeah.
For
So-
real.
I would be partly like really excited to be like, dude, I could walk out with a dragon, or be like, dude, this might be my last day on
I would
Earth.
be so
Well,
sweaty.
and this part wasn't even the threshing. This wasn't even
I
when they
know.
pick. This was just like,
But now you get to know like what these
What it
dragons
looks like
could
up close.
do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so
awesome.
scary.
so he's explaining everything, and he starts to talk about this black dragon that is like the biggest, strongest dragon there is. And they're like, wow, that's a cool dragon. And he's like, oh, don't worry about that one.
Yeah,
We haven't
JK.
seen that one in years. His last rider died, and he's like talking about it. And we figure out that this rider was Nolan.
Mhm.
And he's explaining how Nolan died. He says that Nolan used his powers because he was like a mender. He
Mhm.
was like more than a healer. Like he could literally like bring someone back
They
from
said
the,
that
almost bring someone back from the dead.
Menders
wild.
can heal like anything, even if your shirt is torn. They can mend it back to look normal.
But they can't bring people back
and
from the
they're
dead.
like the most rare,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
Yes. And so as he's talking about it, you start to, I don't know if you guys did, but I had a feeling. I was like, this dude tried to save Brennan.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it was Brennan. And then,
Mhm.
yep, after class, she goes up to Professor Kaori, and she's like, was it Brennan? And he's like, yes, Nolan tried to save your brother with his powers, and he burned out, which means he used all of the powers he had.
Mhm.
So there was nothing left, and it killed him. And he said that it almost killed his dragon too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which is just so sad. Like, I know that they say a lot in the book that when the rider dies, like it's a tragedy
Mhm.
for the dragon, but if the dragon dies, then the rider dies.
Yeah.
mhm.
But the amount of times that they describe someone dying and their dragon like being upset, I
Mhm.
cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hurt me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was sad.
But I actually took notes from that sounds really weird. I took notes from their class in the book.
Mhm.
Oh.
And so I have all of the types of dragons and the colors of dragons.
Ooh,
if you guys
tell
would like
us.
to hear them.
Let's go.
They're classified by their tail and their color. So their tails can be a club tail, a scorpion tail, a dagger tail, a sword tail, and a morning star tail. And then there's a very rare feather tail. And then the colors
Sounds cool.
are
Sounds like How to Train a Dragon.
right. I love it.
Yeah.
The colors are black, blue, orange, green, red, and brown.
What about gold? Would that be?
That'd be a cool color for a dragon.
That would be.
That'd be really
What about
interesting.
silver?
I was surprised that there wasn't any white dragons.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
I really thought that was. I thought there was gonna be one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe there
not.
is.
That's not a spoiler, guys. Unless
not.
there's one in the second book I haven't read. Maybe I just know
We'll
things.
see. Ooh,
Maybe
they
there's a
have
new
babies.
dragon. New dragon
Oh,
era.
man. So is that your history on the dragons?
It is. I mean,
Okay.
I have a lot of theories in my head, but we'll get to that
Okay.
later.
Cool.
So the next point I have was the more about Violet and her challenges. So this is when a student is paired up with another one and they don't know about it until the day of, and they have to go like spar with this person.
Oh, is this what that?
And
Ugh.
yeah, so up to this point, like Violet has been able to figure out who she's gonna fight ahead of time, and so she's able to poison them, and she's not trying to kill them, she's just trying to weaken them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And at this point, the person that she is supposed to challenge couldn't fight because she had to go to the healers because she was a little sick.
She's like, dang it, I poisoned her too early.
She's like, gave her a little too much. And so they're like, we're gonna have you fight. And then all of a sudden, I'll fight her.
Yeah.
Zayden.
Zaddy.
Zayden steps in. He's like, I'm a fighter. And she's like, oh, fuck, this is it. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would be so turned on and so worried about dying at the same time.
I think that's how she felt as well. But it starts out and you're kind of like, oh God, he's gonna kill her. And then he's doing weird things. And you're like, wait, is he helping her? And then you just start to realize he's training her. He's like,
Mhm.
look at what you've been doing.
Mhm.
You're winning these challenges by not fighting, but now you're not learning how to fight when
Exactly.
you don't have that advantage of poisoning people.
Mhm.
And so she's kind of like,
Mhm.
interesting. So
But he even like puts his hands on top of hers and guides her in certain
Shows her
places of his
where.
body. Like
He's
these
like,
are the weak
kidney
points.
would be
and
good.
I was like, sir.
or even maybe over here in my back. Wait,
My
I didn't get a good
bottom.
feel. Let me feel up there.
Yeah.
Where on your back?
Like, what about down here?
Oh my gosh. So that happens and he does not kill her. And we move on and here comes fucking Dane again,
Ugh.
trying to convince her once
Somebody
again.
kill him.
Can
To
I
go
just
to the
tell you
scribes.
something that it's so dumb.
Yes.
We've been watching X-Men and Cyclops is so annoying and I hate him. And if you like him, I'm sorry, but I also don't care. And this is what he was doing to his girlfriend. He was like pushing her down to not be as good as she can. And that's
Yep.
all I could think about with Dane. He
Like
is so
gaslighting her?
annoying and I
Like-
just wanted him to die.
Like, Dane, look at what she's doing.
Even if you were best friends,
She's too smart to
I
die,
don't
Dane.
care.
Yeah.
He's just the worst.
Yeah.
He is. It's
And I
annoying.
was going to be so sad if they had sex.
Yeah. I was
Like,
I was
please
hoping
don't.
against hope that wasn't going to be the connection.
Third date's gonna be good, guys.
I love it.
So then they start training for the gauntlet. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It's the crazy obstacle course that they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a map of that.
Yeah.
Can they make this into a movie? Because I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Or like a TV series.
I also want to do because I was trying to visualize the chimney part where she
Mhm.
can't she's like jumping and
Mhm.
they say it's almost vertical
Yeah.
and she's really short. Like
Yeah.
she's mentioned it many times,
And she's
so
not strong enough to
Yeah.
pull herself up.
And so I'm thinking I'm pretty short. Could I do that? And I was like,
Mhm.
there's no way.
Yeah.
Right.
So on that part, I think she ends up using there's ropes that you can climb or swing and this part is just training.
Mm-hmm.
So this part was nice because they were like, if you can't get up the chimney, you can climb back down this rope and try again the
Which
next time.
I was surprised that they let them train for
Oh,
this. They
yeah.
had 9 practices or something,
Yeah.
which I was like, I was really surprised. I thought they
Yeah.
were just going to let everybody die.
Right. But people were still dying.
Yeah.
Like during one of their trainings, she was going after a girl named, I don't know how to say this one's
Ariel,
I think. Yeah. And she was helping Violet. She's like, grab there. And they were all kind of, I liked this part because it was showing that her squad was coming together as a team more than the others were. You know, they were really helping each other. Like, I can see, because I'm back here, that she needs to grab up there, you know, because she can't see it or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were helping each other like navigate this. And Ariel was like helping her. She's like, oh, grab here and just run as fast as you can. And she did it and she got it. And then she looks back to see Ariel fall.
Which was so sad because they were only getting past that point because of Ariel's brother's advice.
Yeah.
And then she dies on it.
Yeah.
Girl.
That was heartbreaking. It was really hard for Violet to lose her.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rebecca, Miss Yarros, kept introducing us to these short-term characters. And they die. And I was like, my brain I'm at capacity with characters, but also like, and you're breaking my heart every couple of chapters.
It made me think, if you kill this one, I'm gonna be pissed.
Right?
But I was explaining that to Peyton. I was like, every quadrant has all these rules, except for the writers are literally like YOLO. That's the rule.
Yeah.
Because they're so sure that they never know when they're gonna die. A cadet could kill you.
Yeah.
You could die in practice. You could die in sparring. And so I think she had to introduce us to so many characters to show us that like everybody dies all the time.
Yeah. Well, Violet was really upset by this. And after someone dies, their body and their belongings are turned over to the family if they want to come collect it. And Ariel's family did not come to collect her belongings. And like in their tradition, you would burn all the belongings. I believe they probably I think they bury the body and burn the belongings is what it sounded like. And no one was going to come do that for her. And so Violet wanted to be the one to do that. And it was nice. She went and did that for her.
That shows a lot about her own character.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But then on her way back, she runs into the Shadow Daddy. I love that name. But this is where her and Xaden run into each other, and she's like, are you gonna help me or are you gonna kill me? Make up your freaking mind. Because she's like, you're freaking me out, you keep coming around, I don't know if you're here to help me or kill me, so what do you want? And then she tells him, she's like, I'm too short, I can't get up the thing for the gauntlet, and I'm gonna die. And that's when he says the famous, the right way isn't the only way. Figure it out. And
Put
this
that
is
on a
like
shirt.
the best advice.
I loved him.
And so Violet, does what she does and says in her head, fuck you. I was like, she's just being a little kid because she knows he's right. But so then the day comes for the gauntlet, and Dane is just like a
Being
little pansy.
pissy.
He's like, I can't watch.
Oh,
And she's like,
my
so
gosh.
close your eyes because I'm fucking doing it.
Loved that when she said, then close your eyes.
Yes. And so she goes and she's making her way through there, and she gets to the parts that are hard, and she does. She uses another way. And she is able to
Sneaky.
Yeah. She's getting up there and it works.
With her daggers.
And I freaking love it. And I just wanted to throw out there that there's a character that I absolutely adore. His name is Riddick. I freaking love Riddick. He says, I have so many tabs in the book from just things that he said.
He's so funny.
And I couldn't put them all down because they were really irrelevant and they didn't have anything to do with,
It was
were
so
nice little
good to
But they
have
were
him
just-
as a character, though.
Yes,
because
he's an amazing part of it.
being in that situation, everything is just like so dark all the time, and you're just ready to fight or ready to die. And then the guy beside you always cracking jokes.
Yeah. I think at
you
this
needed
part-
that
Yeah.
for the balance in the
Yeah.
100%.
I think at this part, this is when she swings a rope around so that she can get a better swing up that really high, almost vertical chimney part that she has to climb up.
Yeah.
Because it is replicating mounting your dragon.
which
And
is apparently really hard.
yeah. And so she ends up using her dagger, which she brought in with her from the very first day. She uses that to climb up. And when she gets to the top, Riddick's like, hell yeah, that's my girl. Like, oh, it's so sweet. But then Amber, she's another squad leader from a different wing. She's like, she can't do that.
She did. She threw a little hissy fit.
Oh my gosh, she was freaking the hell out.
Yeah,
I was
she's
like,
she's cheating.
really? Like, really?
Are we
And
12? Is this Monopoly?
We trying to
Calm down.
survive, girl.
like if we thought Violet was the queen of the rules, like Amber is obsessive with the rules.
But they're the kids in your class that would like tattle on you. They're the losers.
Yeah.
Right.
Violet's the one that holds the secret because she knows the good outweighs the bad when it comes to breaking the rules. This girl is
And-
just stupid.
And if you're like outside of school when you have to actually use this knowledge, there are literally no rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are surviving along with your dragon and your squad. So if
Yep.
you have to use a rope and a dagger in order to get onto your very difficult dragon and you're trying to ride this dragon and defeat people, like you need to use whatever you have on hand.
Nobody
Right.
is playing fair.
So you need to apply what that's basic stuff. Like you have to learn how to apply what you have in the moment.
Yep.
That's the best way to learn anyways.
Yeah. Well, for this, Zayden was he was in charge. And he's like, yeah, Violet's right. Amber, shut up. And then he, I love this part. He turns to Violet and says, Sorengale, you're leaking.
Yeah.
She was
Do
like
something
bleeding from
about
her
it.
hands. He's like, fix it. So I loved that. I just was like, yes. And then we go to the next thing. This is what we were talking about earlier, where they have to walk to the dragons, walk there and back. And this part was,
The professors even tell you they want you to talk when you're out there so the dragons can get like a hint of who you are as a person. And I thought that was interesting.
And I think that's what got one of their classmates killed. One guy gets roasted right in front of Rhiannon, and I think it was because he was so indecisive.
Yeah.
He was like, we should go back. Or maybe we should walk faster.
What do you guys want to do?
We
We'll
should
just do
this.
whatever.
Right. And then dead right there. But then, so they're watching, and this guy gets burnt, and everyone's like freaking out. They're like, you okay? Are you okay? Okay. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, the dragons come up to Violet, and they start smelling her.
I really liked this
Me
part.
too.
Because I was like, why are they sniffing
Right.
her? And it just made
Yeah.
so much sense.
It did make sense because she goes, oh, you smell Tiny, which is her sister's dragon. Because remember, her sister made that armor out of her dragon's scales.
And they were like, why do you smell like us?
And, and I loved it how she like wiped herself and there was like dragon snot all over her. I was like, I want dragon snot. That's so cool.
But like, I know that these dragons are gigantic and like fearsome, but the way that she was describing it was so cute to
I
me.
know. And the way
Like
she was talking
puppies.
to him, she was so
Yes.
calm and just like, hi guys.
Oh, you
Like,
smell him. Like,
yeah.
oh. And then explains it to them. and
Yes.
that's so cool.
It was perfect. So after they all survive that, and then it's time for threshing. And this is when the riders go out and all the dragons that are willing to bond come.
Which there's 100 dragons willing and 172 cadets.
Yeah. There's not enough dragons.
Yeah, so somebody gonna die.
And a dragon might not pick anybody. They might
Exactly.
leave.
Right. If they don't think you're worthy, they'll just dip out.
Which
And
is fair.
Another time that it's free range to kill people.
Yes. And another side note, the dragon picks the rider. The rider does not pick the dragon.
Right. Yep.
So they all scatter and they're told to do not come back until you have been picked by a dragon. It could take hours. If you leave, you can't be picked. We will come get you when it's over. Like, don't leave. And so they all go running, and she's been walking and can't figure out what she needs to do. Doesn't.
Oh, but we didn't talk about one thing that we saw at the presentation.
What?
Because we see.
Oh, we did see.
We see her before.
I thought we saw her before, the Feathertail.
Andarna.
Oh, yeah.
Because they see her and she's she says she's just a couple feet taller than Violet.
Yeah.
She's baby.
But
Yeah.
Jack, the ever-living asshole,
Yes.
says that she's an abomination
Yeah.
and would be like weak to the wing.
Yeah. And so then we go back to threshing because I knew we saw her before and I
Mhm.
couldn't remember where it was. So Violet's like been walking for quite a while and she decides, well, maybe if I climb this tree, I can like see better, you know, and maybe
For somebody
maybe
who's always broken and in pain, she climbs a lot of trees.
right.
She likes to climb.
Like, what are you doing?
more things than one.
So she climbs the tree and sees
Oh.
this like flicker of gold in the field, and she's like, "What the hell? Did that little dragon come here to bond?"
The baby.
She's like, "What is going on?" And so she climbs back down, and she's like, "Well, maybe I'll go walk over this way."
Mm-hmm.
And as she's coming down the tree, she hears people, and so she hides, and it's Jack and two
Ah.
other people.
I know Oren is one, but I can't remember who the other one is.
Tyrion.
Ah,
Yeah, and I think Oren was even on her squad.
yeah.
So the three of them have decided that they're going to kill this Feathertail because it's abomination. It's a
And-
weakness.
In the beginning, they talk about Feathertails being, they abhor violence and nobody ever
Yeah.
bonds with them because they're so unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they won't fight. They won't have anything to do with killing and whatnot. So
Right.
they're like, we're just going to take out this weak link. And so I was freaking out.
Me too.
I was like,
At this
no,
point,
no.
Yeah.
And
I 100% knew we were going to watch her die.
yeah.
Because I feel like Rebecca had set us up to like bond with this
Yes.
Feathertail.
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
was just like, don't. And it's a
When
baby.
she was
it's
telling us
literally a
how
baby.
cute she
Mhm.
was and she's got paws.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Because
Yeah.
she was like, if you can fly, go on, get.
Mhm.
Yeah. So she gets up to her. She's running, trying to get there before.
And
she's
she has
like,
a messed up ankle herself.
I was gonna say she's trying to run to warn Andarna that
Mhm.
you know they're coming. Run, go fly, and she ends up rolling her ankle on
Yeah.
the way. So now she's
This
hobbling. She's hobbling over there trying to warn this dragon.
Go.
She's like, shoo, go on, go. And Andarna's like,
do that again.
and Darna's sitting there like, do. What a nice day.
Yeah.
Just a baby.
It's a beautiful field.
Just a baby.
And Violet's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, she's like, what about your claws? Oh my God, you don't even have claws. Why
That's
are you
when-
here?
Yeah, that's when she realizes she has fucking baby kitty paws, like the cutest things ever. But she can't shoo her away, so she's finally like, I gotta get out there in front of her, you know?
Mhm.
And as she steps out, she realizes that like, so she's out there with the dragon, Jack and his posse, they're rolling up, and then Xaden steps out.
Yeah, we're like, sir,
Just
why are you
way
here?
on the edge.
This is against the rule.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So the rule is none of the wing leaders are allowed to do anything.
No
while
one
this-
can interfere.
I don't think any
Yeah, exactly.
any superior can interfere.
But they can
Exactly.
all watch. They
Uh-huh.
were
Yeah.
all allowed to watch, and they could be anywhere to watch.
Right.
So he could be there. He just couldn't interfere.
Which he was getting
He was
hot.
going to.
He was getting sweaty too. He probably
I'm
like,
sorry, what's happening?
Yeah. So Xaden and his dragon Seagal show
Such
up.
cool names though.
They
and
really are.
he tells the guys, he's like, you really don't want to do that. You might want to rethink what you're about to do. So he doesn't stop them,
Mm-hmm.
but he says, maybe you should think about this. And they're like, nah, I'm good. We're going to kill her anyways. They're like, can we get in trouble for this?
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we don't care. We're going to do it anyways. Okay, thanks. And so they start coming for her, for Violet and for the Feathertail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Violet's just launches off a dagger and just
Mhm.
stabs Jack in the arm and
Thank
fucks it up.
God.
I was so. I
Yeah.
was like, you.
I was like, go for his head.
Right.
What do you think he does? He runs like the little pansy. he is.
Because he ain't got the balls for this.
But what was
stuff.
funny is Xaden took a step forward. He was about
Mhm.
to handle it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And thank God he didn't.
Well, and then he's like, Oren is coming for Violet.
Mhm.
And because she was looking off somewhere else and didn't
Mhm.
see him coming. And he's like, behind you. And she turns and sees Oren and she's like, shit. He was about to kill her. And she was able to like knock him out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's passed out. So that just leaves Tynan. And
Oh,
he's
this
making
part.
his way towards her.
Oh, this is one of my favorite parts.
Yes. And then she realizes he like stops and he starts to run. And she's like, what the fuck? And she looks behind her and there's this huge ass black dragon that is standing right behind the little baby gold dragon. And she's like, oh my God.
What's his name?
Big
What's
dragon.
his name?
Terran. This is when we meet him.
I was like, when they were talking about this dragon, I was like, oh, I want this Joker to get back in the game.
Yeah. Well, then he freaking fries Tynan.
Yeah. As he should.
Yep.
As
he
he's,
should.
and this is after he started talking to Violet.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
then she's
you
like-
should kill that one on the ground.
And then she's like, dragons can talk?
Yeah.
And she's like, are you talking? And then she realizes it was in her head.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, he picked her. He picked her. And so then it's just like this moment where you're like, oh my gosh, like Terran is the biggest and strongest dragon that anyone has seen in years.
Mhm.
And he's been gone and he came back to save her
And bonded with her.
and he chose her.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah. I
Because
just,
they're polar opposites.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But they are the
Because
best
he's
pair.
also grumpy.
Yes.
Right?
I loved it so much. And I loved him immediately. He's
Yeah.
like,
Too.
he's like, you're bleeding. Stop it. So he's able to help her, which I thought this was so sweet, is he like kind of leans down so that he can help her
Yeah.
get up on his
And
back.
they say they don't do that for anybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then he just takes off flying. And then she falls off of him. And
The end.
That's where we're going to
that's
stop.
where we're going to stop.
All right, guys. If you want to join us for our next episode, we upload every Friday. The next episode will actually be the second part, the second half of the Fourth Wing review. So, guys, we are so excited to like keep talking about this book. If you want to follow us on IG, add us, or IG and Facebook, add us at Lovers Library Pod. We're also on TikTok, so you can also look us up at lovers.library.po. We also have a Facebook book club group that you can join. It is a private group, so just ask to be joined, and we'll get you going on there. Any more announcements, guys, before we jump into the next episode?
I don't think so, but you better come for the next one because that's when we cover
We're
the
so-
spice.
Oh,
I'm
Spice,
excited.
the last battle, all the stuff. So we're so excited, and we love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Oh,
Happily ever
Happily
after.
Happily ever.
Oh, sorry, I got
We're
confused.
so excited.
It's just so confusing because
You
we're doing
said
a part
my
2. Happily ever after.
Bye.